Ask the Mayor. Your chance to ask the Mayor of Weymouth questions about the town and or anything else that you have concerns about. Ask the Mayor is pre-recorded. And now, Ask the Mayor with Bob Hedlund.
Well, welcome back to another angry edition of Ask the Mayor, or the Mayor Accused Me, your host, your citizen advocate, Jim Melody, coming in hot. But I believe I was completely under control. Mayor, how do you feel today about the wonderful spring day that's upon us?
We're not going to use this show for you to air your grievances with certain airlines. If you have a grievance with Weymouth, bring it up, but otherwise, let's stick to the issues.
See, he'll never let me talk about Weymouth Air. That's the problem, that new airport that's coming up. No, actually, I was complimenting Green Taxi since we're not airing grievances. I had a wonderful experience, a tough flight, but Green Taxi, thank you very much.
Great.
We're lucky. I said if Green Taxi ran fill-in-the-blank airline, we'd all be in a better spot. All right, Mayor, how are you today on this beautiful spring day?
Do we have any questions this week?
Yes, we do.
Excellent.
Aside from how are you? All right. Well, I say we talk about this first, our centerpiece. Do you mind? Because as I was driving here from my home in South Weymouth, there are now digital billboards on the sign, which you know I very much appreciate, informing everybody that there's a bunch of work about to start at Columbia Square. So we've talked about it on the show. Any comments for everybody as far as
No, I mean, we won't be redundant because people who watch this show are well informed.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Unlike some folks who just gravitate to social media for their information and think that the proposed Columbia Square project is a myth. Yet another study, all that, but in fact, the contract's been awarded. They're finishing up some survey work, I think, as we tape this, and construction will be starting.
So
on the Columbia Square improvements.
So Bob, pardon me, I'm sorry for interrupting you. The end game, is it a rotary? I'm looking at a rectangle in here, so
boy.
it's lights. I forget I'm dyslexic. I have age.
I'm
AGD.
I'm going to walk off this right now.
Just tell us a
A
little
rotary?
bit more. Oh, well, we discussed at one point.
A rotary has been studied for decades.
I am paying attention.
And the only way you can accommodate a rotary would be huge amount of land takings and a modern day rotary that can accommodate the traffic flow. Not a quaint 1940s rotary.
A roundabout.
Roundabout, right. And the merchants were vehemently opposed. It doesn't work from an engineering standpoint. And my New Year's resolution here in 2023 is to never respond to a stupid rotary question ever again.
I thought it was a
And I'm impressed that you actually know what Columbia Square is today. This is excellent. So the easiest thing to do to answer you on this is go to the website that has been set up, which isn't on here, but Jeff will put it on the scroll. And I think there's a link on our planning department page. And there is a separate Facebook page now, too, devoted to this. So it's lots of information out there right at your fingertips.
Awesome.
Yep.
And see this man for the complaint department if there's any issues here,
Jim,
Ric Flair.
This has been vetted now for, during my administration the entire time we worked. We had numerous meetings. You're almost in a butter. There were public meetings. So obviously, you didn't go to them.
I did not.
Where you could have seen the fact that as the process unfolded, the consensus was traffic signals. And that's what's going in, along with all kinds of other safety improvements, traffic flow improvements, pedestrian safety improvements. And we got consensus with the merchants, with the elected officials, and residents in the immediate neighborhood that they'd actually participated in the process. So there was tons of meetings on this over a period of years. If you live in the neighborhood and you didn't participate, send your complaints elsewhere.
What was that address? Robert, this has literally been on your desk since you walked in the front door, has it not been?
Well, it's been on the front, it's been on the burner for years and years. I mean, different administrations, and even prior to the change in the form of government, been studied and nobody took any action. And was one of the first things we started up on. Our first phase of Columbia Square improvements was actually right out of the gate when I came in here in 2016 in improving and fixing up the parking lot, which was an absolute.
I am paying attention.
That was ridiculous.
That was a winner. Great job.
Do you remember what it looked like?
I lost 3 times as a kid.
How can any functioning municipality have a municipal parking lot that looked like that. It was just insane. But let's get to the other question.
What's up? Okay, there you go. Well, lots.
I'm glad I can keep you focused.
Thank you very much. That's what you're here for. We're a team.
All right, all right.
All right. Well, seeing that there's all kinds of things going on in Weymouth, the first question may be an appropriate tag along, and it's called, we have questions about the cleanup days, which are famous in our town. Hello, Mayor Hedlund. This is from Tracy Brennan. When is the Herring Run cleanup day? And when is the Weymouth cleanup day? I do have the answer to both those questions if you
So I'm blanking out right now on the name. I'm going to preempt the answer to that. But
Okay.
There's 3 things happening. We were very fortunate that you can just leave Ric Flair up, I guess, right?
I pity the fool.
No, that's Mr. T.
Oh, sorry.
So 3 things. We just had a organization step forward and do some cleanup at Back River this week.
Wow.
And later today, we'll put a little bit of information out on that. We thank them. I'm forgetting the name of the organization right now, but you can refer to the mayor's Facebook page and see the great work that they did.
Go there every day.
It's an incredible amount of stuff they pulled out of Great Esker that's washed up on the shores.
Wow.
They even removed part of the old Boy Scout bridge that was demolished in a major storm that washed up. Herring Run cleanup is on the, I think you have this on the 1st?
You are correct, sir. Bravo. April 1st is
So
the
April,
Herring Run cleanup day. Is
and
April
that's
1st.
not an April Fool's joke. Don't go down there and you won't find anyone. They will be gathering at Nico's, behind Nico's in the morning. You can drop in anytime that morning and see George Loring, I think, is coordinating and help out because it's almost herring run season.
Sure, it's springtime.
The
Second one, when is the
community
Weymouth
cleanup day is in conjunction with Earth Day, and you have the date on that, right?
Every day is Earth Day at my house. It's April 22nd.
22nd.
In our great town.
Call the mayor's office, reach out if you want to participate, if you have groups you're affiliated that want to go out and do it as a group. The turnout's been getting pretty good every year. I think last year we had our biggest number of participants. Oh, and this year it's a special post cleanup gala we will be having up at King Oak Hill Park.
Oh.
So there's a lot of fun things planned
Party day
afterwards.
with it.
So great community
That's
event.
April 22nd is the party afterwards.
Yes,
right?
and we've been blessed. I mean, every year we do that. The weather's been pretty good. We do it in conjunction with Earth Day, Arbor Day. A lot going on that day, so check in with the mayor's office and sign up. We'd love to have you.
And all are welcome. Needless to say, Bob, there was a couple more components here, a couple more thoughts from our friend Tracy Brennan. Thank you, Tracy, for this great question.
Oh, Tracy Brennan.
Is there any chance that you can make 2 cleanup times for Weymouth, one in April or in the spring and another in October?
Well,
just hold on, if you don't mind, I'll read them all, and then you can answer them in any order you like. We need more days to stay on top of this stuff, especially around the herring run and the water. What does the town do to inspire and educate Weymouth to keep Weymouth clean? What does the town do to inspire and educate residents to keep Weymouth clean? And then, Robert, a little hug for you. Thank you for all you do and your team to make a better Weymouth.
What do we do to inspire people? Well, Bob Luongo will tell you, because I horrified him one day. We were traveling through Jackson Square, and I saw a kid throw a beverage container out the window. And I caught up,
angry people in town.
and I caught up to him at the light. And I got out of the car and I started yelling at him, and he freaked out.
And I apologize.
And I just assumed it was some punk based on the car I was profiling, that it was some punk traveling through Weymouth that lived in Hingham. So I took extra delight in berating him for littering. And if the police would give me powers, I would have given him a citation. The biggest problem we have in this state with litter, Tracy, is the police issue a citation, but the person gets a summons, I believe. You can't just write a ticket and it's an automatic fine. They get summons to court for a hearing. It's ridiculous. And I tried to change the law, and there was no interest. Nobody knew what the hell I was talking about. And that's why if you do some studies, how's that, better? If you do some analysis and look at the amount of citations that communities issue for littering, it's almost non-existent.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody getting one.
Right, so that needs to be changed at the state level, and there seems to be no appetite to do that. And I want to mention about Tracy, I believe I have this correct. I was walking one late afternoon in extremely frigid weather about a year ago in Webb State Park. Funny story, I was at Webb State Park. There was a woman removing tinsel around the holidays from a fence. And a woman was removing tinsel that someone had put on the fence. And she saw me looking and she said, yeah, it's the second time I've taken this tinsel down. It blows off and it goes into the water and affects the ecosystem, as do the nips when they wash through the catch basins. She said, yeah, and Hedlund's trying to do something about that. I said, yeah, he is. That's a good idea. So she's alert. She's very alert. And I said, yeah, he's a great mayor. And then I finally had to introduce myself. So that was phenomenal. It was actually pretty funny. We were the only people in the park too that day. Awesome. It was cold. So thank you, Tracy. And she practices what she preaches. She gets out there and she participates and volunteers.
A woman of action
yes.
and words. Tracy, thank you for those cleanup efforts. We encourage everybody, P.S., if you see a piece of paper.
All right, next question. Let's go. Come on.
Pick it up.
Hey, let's pick the pace up.
You got someplace to be?
No, I'm looking at the stack. I'm looking at the stack of questions. We're plotting. Let's go.
We had a question for you about this, the herring run stuff, but I guess we're just going to keep moving on. Thank you, Tracy, very much, needless to say.
See you at Herring Run Cleanup Day, Tracy.
Oh, Robert, you didn't address, would you consider the one in April and October?
No, based on the turnout we're getting now, probably not.
Okay, there you go. Tracy would be there, I have a feeling. Okay, Robert, we're moving right along. The East Street pipe issues is on our agenda from Kathy Sprague. Hi, Mayor Bob. I understand the urgent nature of the repairs to the pipes on and around East Street, and I really appreciate the work entailed to repair the situation. Do you think the town can be more proactive in letting the residents know what is going on? Hold on, it would be really helpful, especially when they are working all night and when we are expecting company and want to give our guests a heads up. When this happened last month, we didn't get an update from the town until a week into the project. Thank you, Kathy. So Kathy's happy with the work, but maybe a little bit more awareness.
I'm not sure. Our view might be a little different than her view on things, but it was an emergency situation. DPW had to respond. We had a backup at the Wharf Street pumping station based on some other problems further upstream, if you will. DPW got out as quick as they could and did their leafleting to notify neighbors that's what was going on. We had to put an emergency contract out for outside contractor to work on that. They set up a repair protocol, if you will, to the least amount of traffic impact that they could and least amount of convenience that they could for neighbors. Now, that's been, at the time of this taping, that's been completed, and there's been some issues that have arisen since. Some of the side streets have been affected. We still have a problem in the system between, I guess there's a pumping station on Endicott maybe, or somewhere around there, that's causing a backup still at the Wharf Street station, and they're doing some ancillary work on the side streets, and I know they had to jump on that quickly again, and we did get a couple complaints that the people on the side street weren't aware of it, but it was an emergency. I don't know where she lives, but
there's no address here,
yeah,
but
those are the two things. I think that they handled the first emergency situation pretty well in terms of notification, and we did have a significant number of updates on the town website, the town Facebook page, the mayor's Facebook page. Not so much as of this taping that occurred this past week on the side streets.
So it sounds like this issue was an emergency situation,
Both of them
as
are.
opposed to this situation with the work in Columbia.
Oh yeah,
more planned.
Well, I would say since they've been working on this for 50 years in the town of Weymouth, I guess it wasn't an emergency.
Well, I'm just trying to think of examples
separate
when they
things.
send out
Right.
awareness notices and when things have to be handled.
Right,
you know,
and
like we
DPW tries to get it, and they'll actually go out and leaflet the immediate abutters and leave a flyer in the mailbox.
If there's
So,
major
or in the
construction
door or
going on.
whatever. Right.
I think this is cool as heck. Is this a common thing? I don't think I've seen something like this before, the mail piece.
Well, that's a significant project. I know you keep wanting to go back to this and dominate the whole show talking about Columbia Square, but that's a significant project, so they've done additional outreach as part of the contract and in terms of what our staff's doing.
Okay.
Yep.
There seems to be a connection here, but I'm only the advocate. What do I know? All right, we're going to keep moving on then. Robert, be prepared, buckle your seatbelt, because this one's a long one.
This question looks like it might take up the rest of the show. Go ahead.
If not, I'll got plenty of other questions.
Out of here. Let's go. Let's go. Come on.
Didn't David Letterman used to do that for a while? Okay.
Donnie Norton is coming in for show 2. Let's go.
I'm about to resign in mid-show. All right, this is an astute viewer. This is not my language. Astute viewer explains how Comcast offers telephone. Regarding the landline discussed in a recent Ask the Mayor, Comcast does not offer a landline as in a hardwired phone like we have had all these years.
Yeah, and I don't think Comcast provides the landline service for that. Huh?
Yeah, oh yeah, it is. It's a triple play. It's a triple play.
But wouldn't they have Verizon for a landline?
The triple play gives subscribers the ability to have a stationary
someone's
phone.
providing. We're going to learn something on this.
Here we
Excellent.
go. All right.
Who wrote this? Mary Heinrich?
Are you mad at her too, or just me? All right.
Well, she works for Comcast, so I have to be mad at her.
Oh, hey, the triple play gives.
You're going to edit that out, aren't you? Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, because she doesn't work for Comcast for starters.
Oh, this is really.
All right, the
laudable.
triple play gives subscribers the ability to have a stationary phone with an assigned number. It's run via the internet. If the power goes out, the phone power only lasts as long as the phone battery does. You are confusing this with the hardwired through your wall phones. In Weymouth, that service is provided by Verizon, not Comcast. This phone will never run out of a charge.
So she's correcting you from that show, not me.
I have a lot of things I need to learn about.
No, this is right.
I know this because I have a neighbor with a serious heart condition. He wants to always have a way to dial 911. That being said, several years ago, I had a running dialogue with the mayor's office about getting into alternative internet service. At that time, I was told that several towns were looking into setting up a multi-town service. Since then, when I do inquire, I am told these things take time. The cost of cable is stratospheric. We all agree about that. We elderly folks are having trouble dealing with inflation. We all are having trouble with that. What do we have to do to get some action on this? Because nothing is happening and it's not a laughing matter. To save $10, I had to agree to have the bill paid via my credit card. I hate that. Comcast has a habit of charging fees without notice. I agree with that, but they get their money first. I like to pay by check. My bill with no fancy channels is $180 a month. Thank you, Andrea Gardner. I say thank you, Andrea
I'm going to
Gardner.
condense this answer, even make it shorter than her question. First of all, we appreciate the correction. Yeah. Actually, we appreciate you correcting Jim for the misinformation that he spewed at the last show. As Gorilla Monsoon used to say, a fountain of misinformation. But we have worked diligently with private contractors. We've had, again, every provider in here, and we pursued a situation with Quincy because private contractors told us we didn't have the economy of scale here. And we went down this road of studying, and we actually have spent a little bit of money studying this. The short version is it has come to a screeching halt based on the financial aspects of attempting to do this. I think we did the survey, right? We did the survey to try get a number on buy-in, and it just doesn't, the short version, it absolutely does not work. However, while we were engaged in that, we heard from another carrier that approached us and has expressed some interest in possibly coming in to compete with Comcast. And we've sort of kept that kind of on the low. I didn't want to have Mary have a heart condition based on that information. But that's plodding along like a turtle. I don't know how serious they are, but that's sort of our last Doug Flutie, Hail Mary hope on this unless things change in the future. And I don't want to get into all the cord cutting going on and all the history on this because we go over this tons and tons of times.
You have talked about it regularly. You've always said it's not efficient for another company to come in and set up at the end of the day, right?
Right.
And the multi-town thing has definitely been explored.
It's, the numbers are such that it's completely 1,000% unfeasible.
No kidding. So it's a tough nut to swallow. Make no mistake about it. We agree with you, Andrea. If the price is through the roof, and it's the only game in town, no doubt about it. It's a tough thing to get through.
And we put the big advocate on the council for this actually on the committee that's been trying to vet this. So.
Excellent. Well, there's a couple advocates in town, ladies and gentlemen, and we're all rooting for the citizens. Hi, Mayor. At your last State of the Town, in quotation fingers, event at the Senior Center, there was some discussion about changing the hours of the beach parking lot in the summer. As an example, making parking free after 5 p.m. Is this change still in consideration for the summer? Also, what is the status of the funding for the annual fireworks on the 3rd? Thank you, from Emily. So let's talk about beach hours, Robert.
Do you have a last name associated with this one? No? I wish we did, because my first state of the town, someone named Emily beat up on me over the farmer's market. It's funny, we're discussing farmer's market this week, and I recall getting attacked about the farmer's market my first year because we were making some changes. We had to shut it down temporarily, and it led to a discussion on Facebook, I think, with like 500 comments. Oh my goodness, the farmer's market. Well, what we did is improve the farmer's market, I think, and based on visitation, the farmer's market has never been more successful than it is now. So I was just wondering if that was the same Emily, because they talk about state of the town. Could be quite a coincidence if it was. The parking, yes, it's looking, I think there's some changes on the closing. We're still finalizing a couple things with Steve Riley, who's sort of the point person on this, along with the police department, who drove the changes there. There's no truth to the rumor that the gates at the beach are a form of systematic racism. That's a fallacy.
First I've heard of that.
We heard that one. Things like that. But the issue, one additional issue beyond the question, the only change that might be made is the seniors have been given the opportunity to have a card for free, a pass for free for the summer. Which led to an inordinate number of requests that don't match the amount of usage. And I guess when someone hears something's free, they just take it and avail themselves of it and sometimes never use it. And the production costs and the staff time to process is crazy. So I would classify it, and there's some abuse along with that. So the Recreation Department wants to institute a modest fee of $5 for the year if you're a senior. So that's coming from Recreation. Don't yell at me. Curmudgeons that might be energized that are of a senior status now.
I'm in the demo now. I want to yell at somebody.
I don't know if you're at the cutoff. I can't even remember what the cutoff age is. So anyway, so that's the only real change, and the hours will be also, I believe, a change. That's being vetted right now, and there'll be a determination on that quickly. And it says also, what is the status of the funding of the fireworks? Status quo, our agreement with Calpine is ending soon on the tax increment financing, and we are in the process right now of finalizing that agreement, which will be beneficial to the town. And I would assume the fireworks will remain a part of that. It's based on tradition.
So as far as the hours that she was referring to, they look like they will be, are any changes?
Yep.
We'll see. All right, Robert, we're staying in North Weymouth. Hi, Mayor. It seems like there's been a lot of talk about improving Great Hill, but nothing seems to ever get done. Is there any timeline on improvements to the hill? Please have an answer to drainage, especially along the shelf. Kingdom of North Weymouth.
Is this a dated question? Because we had 3 things planning up there. Some minor improvements for a walking trail around the perimeter. The proposed Four River Trail is actually going to be part of this. It starts at Great Hill and makes its way over to Idlewell. Similar.
Wow.
The concept is to create something sort of similar to what Great Hill did, a defined linear pathway. And that's been spearheaded by Matt Talon, president of Idlewell Improvement Association, who actually helped secure some of the funding for the work that's been done thus far.
Wow.
So really so town funds weren't really used for this. It was mainly, not all, but mainly through a line item he was able to secure working with State Representative Ron Mariano, who represents Speaker of the House Mariano, who represents Idlewell. So that was the first phase of the Four River Trail. There's a lot more work to be done, and it may or may not become a reality someday, but that part of this is exciting. We got some selective pruning and vista pruning done, so he needs to go back up there and check it out because...
And I'm up there often enough, I think it looks like a million.
Right, so there are certain trees we couldn't take down, but a lot of invasive species and trees that we couldn't touch, we did prune to improve the view, which people have complained about incessantly. In fact, the previous question mentioned my North Weymouth State of the State. When I came in 2016, the very first question I got at the State of the State was about this. The same gentleman asks the same question every year.
That's awesome.
So this year, I hope he's happy. So most of those improvements are done. So go back up there and recheck the work.
Just Bob,
hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me get my answers out here. The drainage work at the shelf, he said the shelf, right?
And that's exactly where I was going to go.
So there's two drainage issues up there. One is the bottom of the hill up by Bailey Road, and then further down is the shelf. The shelf drainage is part of the beach connection coastal embankment stabilization project, which will be underway this year, which will have a finish date in 2024. So that part's not done by the shelf, but I think the Bailey Road stuff will be done this year, which is in conjunction with the Great Hill work.
So it's ongoing on top of all the work that's already been done. There's still more to be done.
Some of what he's talking about, well, he sends improvements overall, but those I already answered it. Go ahead, next question.
And thank you, Ronnie Mariano, out there with the shovel and a weed whacker.
No, Ron Mariano with the moolah.
We want to remind everybody as we come to the end of this wonderful edition of Ask the Mayor, please keep the questions coming to askmayorbob@gmail.com. We appreciate all these questions. Please keep the questions coming to askmayorbob@gmail.com. Robert, I think we have time for one more, if you can believe it. We have, despite your protestations, we have rifled through several, and here we have one more for you. Dear Mayor, when will the ill-conceived intersection of Ralph Talbot and Pine Street ever be updated? It's a traffic nightmare with too many schools nearby letting out their students. South Shore Collaborative in Hingham, Ralph Talbot Primary, and Weymouth High School. It's very dangerous, and I feel that the town isn't paying attention to what's going on. This is to concern parents. So the intersection of Ralph Talbot
We
and
don't
Pine
pay
Street.
attention. We have a lot of balls up in the air. I mean, I don't know if we don't pay attention to things. I mean, Jim, you've been around. I mean, I've been here 7 years. Like, how many things have we gotten done compared to the last 50 years? No, I'm serious.
I would say if we put it on a scale, the good is outweighing the bad.
So I've heard from noted author Steve Paleo has discussed this issue with me, who lives in that area, and that is not something being ignored. It's something to look at. But part of that roadway is a state roadway, and we've made some changes, if you remember, to Park Ave, with the speed limit change that went down there, which had to go through the state, but we were part of that discussion. We have a surprise for Ralph Talbot Street coming up this year, and the intersection itself, in conjunction with the Columbian Square work, is being looked at, because when the lights go in Columbian Square, and this is certainly going to be a challenge, and that's a challenging intersection that the concerned parent writes about, but it's being looked at by our traffic engineer, and they're thinking ahead, and they're looking at how those two intersections will eventually be synced up, because obviously with Columbian Square choke point, it's one of the reasons why the light is currently synced as it is. But I think, not totally sure, when she references, or he references the intersection, if that's the complaint, or if it's the intersection design, or if it's the timing of the lights.
Synchronized lights in the town of Weymouth. Who ever thought of that? Ladies and gentlemen, when I talk, people listen.
Yeah, synchronized. Are you familiar with synchronized? Are you familiar with synchronizing the light patterns?
He wants them synchronized for when he's driving down Pleasant Street.
At any point would have been. I was 0 for 4. I mean, come on.
Of course they're not synchronized. This isn't like a grid in Manhattan.
All right, listen. We want to remind
Do you know where synchronized lights have really worked? And it's really the state that I mean, our traffic engineer, Owen McDonald, has input with them, has worked with them. But I used to try to avoid the Winter, Washington, and Middle Street intersection, and they've been tweaking those for a couple of years, and I think they got it down pretty well. I mean, that's a huge problematic intersection with all of the roads that funnel into that one intersection, and you know, it can back up at peak times, but when you go through there non-peak times, the way those things are synced up, it's great.
Can I put you on the spot, Mayor? And I don't know if you have the answer for this. How long, traditionally, when a light goes green, does it stay green? Is it 30 seconds, 60 seconds?
It depends on the intersection.
Oh, it's regulated differently on intersections? I think that was that might be my best question in the history of these shows. No kidding, I did not know that. Well, I think we need to wrap this episode up of Ask Mayor, if that's okay with you, Mayor.
What are we closing with today, Jim?
Well, I think, needless to say, we want to remind everybody to keep the questions coming to askmayorbob@gmail.com. But I think we're going to ask people to stay tuned to... Green
Something having to
acres?
do with roads, highways. Chips.
Chips? We've never done chips.
Well, that never made SPK.
Well, everybody, thanks as always for the questions. Spring is here. We're excited about the good weather and hope everybody's having a great week.
If you have a question, please email the mayor at askmayorbob@gmail.com. That's askmayorbob@gmail.com. Maybe your question will be answered on the next episode of Ask the Mayor.